we deserve. That was one of the How about now?
Hello. Yeah, hello.
Hi,
Yeah,
welcome. I'm glad that you could join us. What a powerful, powerful piece that you produced.
thank you. Thank you, Viola. It's an honor to be here.
Oh, wonderful. So, the Africa that we deserve. Tell me, Vitus, who
Yeah.
you are and Africa is and her people are. Tell us what do you think about that.
Okay. So my name is Vitus Zule. I'm known in art circles as VitusSpeakz. So I'm a creative writer and a public speaker and a spoken word poet as well. Africa is a beautiful land, a land of opportunities, endless opportunities, if I should say. And her people are a warm-hearted, loving, resilient people. That's who Africa is.
That is true. That is very true. So you made this great piece that we
Hmm.
showed here a few moments ago. What
Yeah.
prompted you to make that piece, and how do you see that piece being a bridge to connect Africans together and take the shackles off their minds?
Okay, so generally, I felt that Africans are dwelling too much on a part of our history that we can't change, when actually there is a present day reality that we have the ability to change, and that is neocolonialism. And so I felt the need to do a piece to address this and then to awaken the African spirit towards being able to change the narrative, looking at how we can change the narrative of the present day problems that we have as a continent, rather than dwelling so much on an aspect of our history that we can't change. But we can change how we view and relate with the present day reality, and that is neocolonialism.
Neocolonialism is a huge factor. It is a real thing that's happening.
Exactly.
And as being a Black person in America, I will tell you that the impacts of racism, the impacts of being shackled physically, has
Hmm.
significant um, modern day expressions in our mass incarceration system.
Exactly.
Currently, as you saw with our brother George Floyd,
George Floyd.
as we saw with our brother Ahmaud Berry, as we saw with the Sinhalese family that was just burnt in Seattle, Washington. You know, on and on we could talk about the legacy that chattel slavery has had upon us, and it shows within itself every day in I will say in American life. I can't speak to any other place. I could talk about America, but there is this opportunity that so many Black Americans and those in the diaspora, the Caribbean, South America, who trace their lineages and claim their Africanness, are moving back to the continent. And it
Exactly.
seems as if your piece really t- awakens and invites an opportunity for diaspora unity. Say more about that.
Well, definitely. I feel like instead of, like I mentioned, instead of dwelling so much on the past, we can forge forward. We can look at what ways in which we can, work with Africans in the diaspora to basically free ourselves, liberate ourselves from these mental shackles. Very words of Bob Marley, he says that we need to emancipate ourselves from mental slavery because none but ourselves can free our minds. And so I feel like now is an opportune time for that to happen. And last year in Ghana, being the year of return, we
Yes.
saw a lot of Africans in the diaspora coming home. And now we are looking beyond the year of return. And I believe
Yes.
that this is a great opportunity for us to, network, fought together as a nation, as a continent, and then deal with these problems.
What's your dream? If you could have if you have a dream about correcting these problems that we jointly as Africans face, no matter where we are on the globe, how do you see that happening, and what role do you see yourself playing?
Well, I do consider myself a Pan Africanist. I mean, I've studied the works of some of the great Pan Africanists. from from Nkrumah, Mandela, Sankara.
Yes.
The list is endless, including some of the African American Pan-Africanists like Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X. The list is endless, and I feel like I connect to that
Yeah.
dream that of uniting Africa, and then seeing an Africa that we are not being judged by the color of our skin, but by the content of our character. And so my role as an artist, as a speaker, is to ignite this in people, to drive home that that Pan-African spirit into people's hearts, to drive home a sense of belongingness, and that sense of pride in being African, and
Wow.
then being able to change the narrative.
Wow, that is so beautiful, so revolutionary, right?
Thank you.
Drive home a sense of belongingness. To know
Yes.
that you have a place that you belong, you can thrive and develop it. Wow, remarkable. The International Institute has this huge mega campaign that we're under with
Okay.
looking to create 1 million jobs jointly with continental Africans in the continent, 1 million jobs in manufacturing by 2030, right?
Wow.
So having those jobs on the continent, that industry, they're moving forward. What kind of impact do you see economically when the diaspora unify? What do you see how that will impact Africa, particularly where you are and from your vantage point?
Okay, so economically, I could say that in the past, we haven't seen so much in terms of economic progress in Africa because of, it's difficult to more or less create or build a value chain across African businesses when there are so many border stumps. So I think the signing of the AFCFTA is coming
Yeah,
at an
yeah,
opportune
AFCA.
time. Exactly. And I think it's going to, in a very great way, is going to foster business operations across Africa, especially for SMEs. And so, in line with that, I think the vision that your organization has is a very beautiful one. And I see Africa now, in the wake of the AFCFTA, forging a very, powerful trade center,
Sure.
that could do so many things, could create endless possibilities for us as a continent. And so, I think this is a very welcomed opportunity.
The African Free Trade Agreement, I'm saying this for our listening audience, especially those who may not be aware, is an opportunity for Africa, the continent, all 54, some say 55 nations, to trade throughout their borders. Those
Yeah.
borders are put in place by long ago colonial masters to benefit, the West and those colonial processes. And now there's an opportunity in order to soften that. So there's not all these import taxes, right? So that if you're looking to have one thing here, we don't have to take the beautiful chicken of Brazil and freeze it and dry it on and then bring it into Ghana. We don't have to do that. We have, chicken that is being grown and produced. And there's mechanisms that if we have rice in Liberia, that we're able to do that trade, or the work that we're doing in Zimbabwe around PPEs, bleach, hand sanitizers, soaps, and detergents, how to move that into Tanzania, how to move that into DRC in a way that not only is good economically for us,
Yeah.
but it also helps our people long term, right? And that is the goal of any good business. So I
Exactly.
want to bring to your attention, Vitus, you mentioned some of the old scholars. There's one that I want to invite you to, Amos Wilson. Have you heard of Amos Wilson?
No, I haven't.
So I invite you to watch any of his YouTube videos,
Okay.
particularly if you have time. There's a book called The Blueprint.
Okay.
And that blueprint really delves into the neo-colonialism that we're facing and the true opportunity that economic unity amongst the diaspora and
Okay.
its impact in order to create us to be free
Wow.
mentally, but also financially. And he lays out a plan that makes it plain and makes it very doable. And that's the goal of having us together, because we're a part of, us together to really think through what those opportunities are. So what's on your to-do list? Everyone has a to-do list. What's the thing that you need to get done this year around creating the biggest impact possible?
Well, as an artist, one of the things I just love to do is to create works like the one that I did to, ultimately influence people's minds and mentalities. And I choose to put it as leave people in a slightly better position than before they encountered me.
Yeah.
And so that has been one of the biggest things on my to-do list. Sadly, the pandemic has, slowed down things a bit, but by the end of the year, I have a couple of works that I want to roll out before the
Okay.
year runs out.
Fantastic. The International Institute, along with its partners, is hosting a business investment retreat in December 2020, right along with the Beyond the Year of Return to come into Ghana. So we hope that you will you join us to be a part of that, and people can meet you
I'd,
up.
I'd love to. It'll be a great opportunity to network and meet other great minds.
Fantastic. We're going to go to a small commercial break right now. Stay in studio, and we will come back to talk to VitusSpeakz. Welcome back to the Africa That We Deserve. We're here with VitusSpeakz, prolific creative writer and performer from Ghana. You represent the youth.
Yeah.
The youth voice is so huge and necessary. Tell us more about what is necessary for the youth to participate in the unshackling of the minds.
Okay, so I believe that as much as the youth form just a fraction of the entire population of Africa, we form 100% of the future. And so, one of the greatest goals for me is to drive more youth towards generational thinking, especially in leadership, because I believe that one of the biggest problems of Africa has been our leadership. So, if we can raise generational thinkers to become the next wave of or the next crop of leaders, we can change the African narrative. And so, one of the greatest goals for me as a young person is raising leaders who can change the narrative.
Fantastic. Raising leaders that could change the narrative. And part of that narrative is seeing Africa beyond aid,
Exactly.
right? And utilizing the resources in the continent for wealth generation to
Hmm.
do that. Say
Yeah.
more about your thoughts around how the diaspora can link up with the youth like yourself. How can the International Institute link up with VitusSpeakz and all the wonderful work that you're doing in order to move the youth to this greater level?
Okay. So generally, I think that there's a misalignment, if I should say, between funds and talent or opportunities. Um, Let me elaborate. I feel
Sure.
like there's excess funds elsewhere and excess opportunities here. And so I feel like Africans in the diaspora, especially, can form merger with Africans back home to
Okay.
create businesses that could, mitigate the challenges that Africa is facing currently. And so that is how I feel like we could come together to, build that African dream, as you choose to put it.
That's wonderful. And the African dream, for me and the way that I'm seeing it through this business networking opportunity is for Black folks globally, no matter where we are, to be a
Yeah.
part of the solution necessary for that to happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Last year being the year of return, I believe that it brought a lot of opportunities for Africans in the diaspora coming home. It also created certain avenues for tourism and a whole lot of other things. And so if we can work together, I believe we can go a long way to build the kind of Africa that we deserve.
And what is the Africa that we deserve? Give us a picture in words.
Okay, so if I should paint the picture, it may look like a utopian concept, but an Africa that is not dependent on other continents or other people, an Africa that solely depends, creates its own stuff, consumes its own stuff, and then lives independent of others. A lot of time our leaders have made it look like we can't live of our own in as much as we are independent. I mean, we take a country. I'm a Ghanaian, so let me use Ghana for example. Ghana gained independence in 1957, but we look at certain things, how far Ghana has come from the point of independence to now. Like we're looking at Ghana in the post-colonial era, and there's a lot more that I feel that we can do. I mean, a country like Malaysia gained independence in the same year as Ghana, but I'm not about to compare these two economies. So I feel like there's a lot more that we can do to shift us a notch further in terms of development. And that begins with creating our own stuff, believing our own stuff, self-belief, and making it happen for ourselves, not dependent on other people or other continents.
Absolutely. And so the platform necessary has to be one of partnership, is what I'm hearing you saying. So the African diaspora in the United States, Black folks here in the United States, has a spending power of $1.7 trillion. That's how much we spend, right, outside of our pockets collectively. And that money doesn't circulate within our own communities, right? If there was an opportunity to be able to harness that, we've seen your wonderful president, really open the doors to Black Americans to say, come back. There's opportunity in real estate. There's opportunity in health. There's a new health center that has been built. In the arts community, where you have your greatest influence, what is needed there?
Okay, so, well, in arts, first of all, art is one field that there's direct link between producer and consumer. For artists, I feel like there are a lot of talent here that could be given stages to, be managed, if I should say, managed and then put on a global stage and promoted. So I think we need structures that could support upcoming artists. The industry over here sort of favors well-established artists as compared to underground artists. I mean, there's very little revenue that comes to people that are starting up in the art sector. So I feel there should be structures that could support upcoming artists to monetize or their art, if I should say, to generate revenue from their art.
So in December, we're hosting the business retreat. And so here's an opportunity we'll put on the table. We'll have and see if you're interested in leading up. There'll be, a beach party. There'll be symposiums. There'll be business symposiums. If there's, artists that are looking to perform at the beach party, let's jointly do that with VitusSpeakz.
Okay.
And that way it can be managed well. Ghanaian artists, underground artists can have an opportunity to really showcase their talent and be a part of the connection in the business sense that makes really good business sense for folks to see them, be highlighted, and do what they do best, edutain, right? Because you're not just an artist. You came out with this piece that was provocative, that really shook, the world to say, hey, listen, you think that, colonialism ended. Let's look at how colonialism is still active right now. What do you think about that? Is there room for VitusSpeakz to do that with the International Institute?
I think that's a solid idea. And so I look forward to it. I'm open to it.
Absolutely. This is great. So as we think about Ghana in 5 years from now with VitusSpeakz, where, you're on the newspaper front page above the fold, what will we read about VitusSpeakz and his work on uplifting youth? What will that project into the future? What that front page newspaper will say?
Well, I believe we'll be looking at maybe a mentorship program of a sort for people who are doing what I'm doing at the moment. By that time, I believe that I'll be at a certain height that will put me in a position of influence to mentor others. And so we're looking at mentorship. Yeah, I'd love to be a mentor to up and coming artists in their field of creativity.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Your YouTube channel for seems to have been growing, the uptick. So congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that. Is there a way that we can, the International Institute, can provide some more support to showcase your wonderful piece? That we have your website and we have your YouTube link. Is there anything else that we can do to give that support?
Well, basically just create opportunities for the arts to travel beyond the borders of Africa. Because as far as the art goes, the message of African unity goes as well. And so mainly pushing beyond the borders of Africa, because um, a lot of time it looks like, well, for me, my audience is mainly within the African the borders of Africa. So if
Sure.
I could get an opportunity to push beyond the borders of Africa, I believe that would be a welcomed initiative.
Absolutely. That we can make a commitment to.
Okay.
Speaking for Ghanaian youth right now, what was the feedback that you received from your piece? I mean, your piece just really cut people. What did you hear back?
Well, it's been you know an interesting journey, if I should say. But it was expected anyway. I expected that there will be a lot of positive feedback, but it wouldn't just be positive. I felt there was a lot of negative feedback as well. Some people felt offended. Some people felt that um, the people are highly opinionated when it comes to these matters, and so some
Yeah.
people felt the piece spoke about for they're complaining about slavery, and slavery is a thing that they can't do without complaining about. And so there was a lot of mixed reactions and mixed feedback, but on the greater side of it, I think majority of the feedback was positive.
And you had a line in there that really talked about, I've convinced you that your wedding isn't real until it's validated by me.
Ah,
I've convinced you that your development needs to have my support in order for it to work. What did you hear back from any of the around those pieces that seem to cause Africa as a whole? We're trying to move Africa beyond aid. What did you hear back from people that talked about those economic development pieces?
well, there were a couple of mixed reactions. Some people thought, well, one interesting feedback I got was someone saying that, you are talking about, emancipation, Africa, liberation, and all of that, but you are wearing clothes that are probably imported from elsewhere, and so on and so forth. And so those were people's thoughts. But in my defense, or in my response to that, I feel like what I put on was a reflection of what I represented in that piece. I mean,
Sure.
I stood in the shoes of a colonizer in that piece, and so I
Yeah,
could definitely wear something that reflects a different continent, and
truly.
it's not.
So we've agreed today that you will be a part of the work that we're doing for the business retreat. International Institute will be glad to support and help to give space and create more people to watch your extraordinary piece. And I'm thinking here, as we move forward to figure out this economic opportunity piece, we'll have some of your partners come in and be a part of that beach party. It seems like we're brewing something together. So tell me, what do you know, Vitus? What do you know about the future of Africa?
Um, the future of Africa, in my eyes, I feel Africa has endless, like I mentioned, endless possibilities. Once we have the right leadership, I can mention a country like Rwanda.
Yeah,
Rwanda is a country that came from a genocide, but they currently have one of the fastest growing economies in the world. And so I feel that there are endless possibilities, like I mentioned, with right leadership, there are endless possibilities to what we can build as a continent. And so
Yeah.
the future of Africa, I perceive a continent that is one to be talked about, that is one to stand on its own, a continent that could be, a threat, so to speak, to other continents. I believe so much in the endless possibilities that we can create once we have a huge amount of self-belief in Africa.
Absolutely. Africa is now. Africa is the moment. If you have artists, friends, and colleagues of Vitus that have clothes and jewelry that they're looking to sell or to get exposure to, love to showcase them. I showcase outfits all the time here on the International Institute. We're happy to do that. In any other way that you think that we can showcase some artists, this platform is open for Black folks globally to connect, to inspire each other, to invest in each other, and to get involved in each other's lives. We come on every Sunday for a half an hour for conversation and a chance to build economic unity. It has been my greatest pleasure to have you on today. Thank you, Vitus, and much love to you.
Thank you too so much. I want to say that I resonate with what your organization stands to do, and that is to build the Africa that we deserve. And I'm open to any opportunities to network, to work together, to make this a reality. And I want to say a very big thank you to your management and to your crew, and to you yourself, of course, for having me. It's been an honor. I've looked forward to this interview ever since we connected on social media about 2 weeks ago. And so,
Oh, I am so grateful. Thank you so very much. Much love to the beautiful, beautiful Ghana that you are in. I will see you soon in December, my
definitely.
brother. Take good care.
You be in Ghana in December?
I'll be there. We will have our business investment tour. It's not my first time coming to Ghana. This time I will have the opportunity to work with partners, Cicely McLean, who is on. She is hosting and doing a lot of work in the beer production and manufacturing. Um, and there's a host of others that we're working with in order to bring folks to take a tour, have a retreat. There'll be morning yoga at dawn. There'll be cultural performances. They'll be living on the beach for 10 whole days and having a tour, especially of the Western region and Central region and Accra, for opportunities to build economic unity and legacy wealth, not just for themselves and their children, but for Africans that are on the continent, so we can take advantage of the resources that are there. If we don't do it, then we cannot complain when others come in, and then you cannot go into their neighborhoods because those neighborhoods are privately developed for other people's benefits. And so it's time for the diaspora to come and do what we can. Leadership, people think of leadership at the top. Leadership starts where you are.
Exactly.
And that small thing that you can do, and you do it consistently, and you do it from a place that is connected to your ancestors, a place that's called by your spirit to do what is right, so that you can answer the call of why you were born here on this planet. I believe that.
I believe that too.
Well, with that, thanks, friends, families, and colleagues for checking in. The Africa We Deserve. We will see you next week, next Sunday. And I want to give a shout out to my son, CJ Reyes. He will be turning 12 on September 23rd. So I want everybody who is watching here to send my son a big shout out. He is turning 12. That's a big
Happy birthday in advance.
Thank you. All right, everybody. Until next week.